The Marvel Cinematic Universe has always been full of surprises, but bringing Robert Downey Jr. back into the fold as Dr. Doom in Avengers Doomsday might be one of their boldest moves yet. It's the kind of jaw-dropping decision that reminds fans why they love Marvel so much, because it takes risks that keep things fresh and exciting. Not only does it give RDJ a chance to reinvent himself in this universe after Tony Stark's heroic farewell in Endgame, but it also sets the perfect stage for another massive character to come crashing into the spotlight. And honestly, this next villain could finally give Hulk the arc he's been waiting for. With Marvel diving deeper into the multiverse, especially after Loki, No Way Home, and Multiverse of Madness, it makes perfect sense they'd use this playground to mess with familiar faces in unexpected ways. Seeing a Dr. Doom that looks like Iron Man instantly sparks a ton of questions about how variants work, how much of someone's identity carries over across universes, and what chaos might erupt if different heroes and villains start overlapping. It's this kind of storytelling that could naturally open the door for Maestro, a future darker Hulk variant who could not only become one of the MCU's most intimidating threats, but also breathe fresh life into Bruce Banner's journey. If you look at Maestro from the comics, he's a Hulk that's way more terrifying than anything we've seen so far. Born from a future ravaged by nuclear war, Maestro is what happens when Hulk's raw power is combined with decades of bitterness, loss, and a warped sense of superiority. He's not just a mindless wrecking ball, he's Bruce Banner's intellect sharpened by years of survival and twisted by unchecked rage. This makes Maestro a villain that's as personal for Hulk as it gets, because he's literally the nightmare version of what Bruce could become if all his worst instincts took control. That's exactly why Maestro would fit so perfectly into the MCU's evolving multiverse saga. Imagine this. As Robert Downey Jr.'s Dr. Doom explores what it means to mirror Tony Stark in a darker, more authoritarian way, Maestro could do the same for Hulk, serving as the ultimate warning of what happens when power, grief, and anger run unchecked. It's a story that would hit incredibly close to home for Bruce, especially since Endgame ended with Smart Hulk, a merge of brains and brawn that seemed like a happy resolution. But what if that balance doesn't last forever? What if there's a universe where it completely fractures, creating something monstrous? And let's be real, Maestro isn't just some random villain you throw into a one-off movie, he's saga-level material. After the Infinity Saga gave us Thanos and the Multiverse Saga seems to be steering toward Doom, Maestro would be the perfect big bad to carry the torch into whatever Marvel plans next. His threat wouldn't be about wiping out half the universe or conquering timelines. It would be deeply personal, centered on the idea of Hulk confronting his own terrifying potential. It makes him more than just another obstacle for the Avengers. It turns him into a haunting reflection of what any hero might become under the wrong circumstances. The cool thing about Maestro is that he wouldn't need his own solo movie to make an impact. Because of those tricky distribution rights still tied up with Universal, standalone Hulk films are complicated. But Maestro could slot seamlessly into ensemble stories or massive crossover events like Secret Wars. That way, Hulk still gets to take center stage without Marvel having to wrestle through more legal headaches. Plus, seeing Bruce have to literally face his darker self could be one of the most powerful and emotional arcs the MCU has delivered yet. It's not just about smashing stuff, it's about exploring legacy, fear, and how close even the best heroes can come to becoming villains. Bringing Maestro in would also be the perfect excuse to rally Marvel's growing lineup of Gamma-powered characters. Over the last few years, we've gotten She-Hulk, who's established herself as a standout personality with her own style of justice, plus Scar, Hulk's surprise son introduced in She-Hulk Attorney at Law. We've also seen Abomination step back into the limelight, more rehabilitated and complex than before, and with Red Hulk already tearing things up thanks to Captain America Brave New World, Marvel's quietly building a pretty stacked Gamma roster. It's actually wild how many of these characters are around without truly connecting yet, but Maestro could change all that. His rise would be so big that it wouldn't just need the Avengers to stop him, it would need the people who actually understand what it means to live with Gamma running through their veins. Imagine Hulk, She-Hulk, Scar, Abomination, and Red Hulk all forced to team up, putting aside their baggage because they're the only ones who can truly stop Maestro. It wouldn't just be epic from an action standpoint, it would also explore deeper themes of mutation, identity, and the heavy burden of power. That's the kind of story that could turn Hulk's corner of the MCU into its own mini-saga, much like how the Infinity Saga focused on cosmic stakes and the Multiverse Saga zeroes in on the fragility of timelines. A Gamma Saga, so to speak, could explore how science can both elevate and doom someone, and no matter how much you try to stay in control, there's always a darker possibility lurking. And while we're talking about Maestro, it's impossible not to wonder who could actually play this terrifying figure. Because even though Mark Ruffalo could technically pull double duty, continuing as Bruce while using mocap to bring Maestro to life, it might be more interesting if Marvel cast someone new to really differentiate the character. Someone like Dave Bautista could be incredible in the role. He already brings a blend of raw physicality and surprising emotional depth that could capture Maestro's complexity. Or even someone like Karl Urban, who has that grizzled, intense edge that Maestro demands. But if Marvel truly wants to go meta and blow fans' minds, they could cast an older actor with a powerhouse reputation to show just how far off the rails this Hulk variant has gone. Imagine someone like Clancy Brown, whose voice alone would send chills, or even Ron Perlman, who could embody Maestro's regal yet menacing vibe. Whoever they pick, it should be someone who can bring gravitas to match the sheer physical intimidation, because Maestro isn't just a big scary green guy, he's a cunning tyrant who's painfully aware of what he's become. All of this builds into why it feels like such a sure bet that Maestro could actually be on the horizon. Marvel has laid out so many narrative breadcrumbs, Bruce merging his personalities, the introduction of Scar, the return of Betty Ross, and Red Hulk, that you can't help but see it all coming together. And with Robert Downey Jr. shaking things up as Doctor Doom, there's a nice parallel. Tony Stark's darker reflection on one side, Bruce Banner's on the other. It sets the stage for some truly rich, intertwined storytelling that digs into what happens when the smartest, strongest heroes fall off the moral cliff. If Maestro is the villain waiting down the road, it means Hulk's greatest chapter is still ahead, and that's pretty exciting. And that's that for today's video. Thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next one.